A very good afternoon to you. This is TV Sapienza on Star Times channel 260. Today is Tuesday, the 10th of June 2025. My name is Joe Igbo. In our news headlines this afternoon, the federal government has restated its commitment to reducing maternal mortality rate in Nigeria by 20% before 2027. The Edo State government has raised the alarm over the rising cases of diphtheria in the state. Wilberforce Chuba Okadigbo Airport, Ebonyi State, has commenced commercial flight operations. The Nigeria Correctional Service, NCOS, has announced the successful enrollment of more than 70% of inmates across various custodial centers nationwide into the National Identity Management Commission's NIMC database. Now the details of the news. The federal government has restated its commitment to reducing maternal mortality rates in Nigeria by 20% before 2027. The Minister of State for Health and Social Welfare, Isiaq Salako, stated this yesterday in Enugu during the presentation of 10,000 professional kits to midwives by the wife of the president, Remi Tinubu. The minister also said the government is committed to reducing infant or under 5's mortality rate by 15%. He said the distribution of professional kits to nurses and midwives was part of the government's effort to motivate and empower medical professionals leading the fight against maternal and infant mortality in the country. He said the distribution of the kits is to create a large pool of motivated and empowered professionals who can deliver on the agenda of the president to reduce maternal mortality rate and under 5 mortality rate by 20% and 15% respectively by the year 2027. The minister appreciated the role that midwives are playing in the effort to deliver on the maternal and child health agenda of the president. A United Nations Children's Fund or UNICEF report said though Nigeria represents 2.4% of the world's population, the country currently contributes 10% of global deaths for pregnant mothers. Latest figures show a maternal mortality rate of 576 per 100,000 births, the fourth highest in the world. The Delta State government has approved the release of 6.7 billion naira as the state's counterpart funding to access the Universal Basic Education Commission or UBEC grant for educational development. According to the State Commissioner for Works, Rural Roads and Public Information, Mr. Charles Aniagu, the approval was part of the decisions taken at the State Executive Council meeting presided over by Governor Sheriff Oborowori in Asaba and aimed at strengthening the basic education system in the state. Mr. Aniagu stated that the 6.7 billion naira Universal Basic Education Counterpart funding would enable the state to draw matching grants for the construction, renovation, and equipping of public schools. He said the State Executive Council approved the supply and installation of workshop tools and equipment at Omadino Technical College and Model Technical College, or RFA. The construction of an administrative block, hostels, dining and kitchen, mechanical and welding workshops at the new Model Technical College, Akubene. Mr. Aniago hinted that Governor Sheriff Oborowori had directed the Ministries of Primary and Secondary Education to carry out investigations into the buildings and furniture needed to improve the primary and secondary education sectors in the state. The Commissioner noted that the dual focus on roads and education aligns with Governor Sheriff Oborowori's MORE agenda, which prioritizes infrastructural renewal and human capital development. The Niger State Governor Mohammed Bago has announced a 1 billion naira donation to victims of the recent Mokwa flooding incident. Bago made the donation yesterday when he paid a visit to the flood-ravaged local government for an on-the-spot assessment of buildings destroyed by the flood. The governor, who commiserated with the residents, stressed the need for the people to stay clear of waterways so as to prevent the loss of lives and property during such incidents. He assured them that all the cash and materials donated by the federal government, kind-spirited individuals, government agencies, as well as donor agencies will be utilized for the purpose it was meant. The governor praised all those who supported the affected victims in no small measure, saying that the government would resettle those affected by the flood directly or indirectly. The Edo State government has expressed worry over the rising cases of diphtheria in the state, saying that people who have been fully vaccinated have been found to be infected, including those beyond 5 years of age who are not expected to be infected in the first place. This is as the government announced that it has deployed 70 doses of anti-diphtheria vaccines to the University of Benin Teaching Hospital, UBEC, where 2 people died of the infection last week. The State Commissioner for Health, Dr. Cyril Oshomole, stated this shortly after donating the vaccines to the hospital, disclosing that the state government also got 20 doses from neighboring Delta State. Oshomole said some of the infected persons have a history of full immunization, as well as a 14-year-old, which is not expected to be infected in the first place. The commissioner disclosed that the Edo State Governor, Senator Monday Okpeholo, has approved the donation of beds and fittings and other items to the emergency center in the hospital and possibly offset the medical bills of patients. The health commissioner noted that diphtheria is best prevented through vaccination and maintaining good hygiene. He said the disease spreads through direct contact with infected individuals, often via respiratory droplets like those produced when coughing or sneezing. Prevention, he said, is best done by washing hands with soap and clean running water. Wilberforce Chuba Okadigbo Airport, Ebonyi State, has commenced commercial flight operations. The State Commissioner for Aviation and Transport Technology, Mrs. Ngozi Obichukwu, disclosed that United Nigeria Airlines would commence scheduled commercial flights from June 13, offering routes from Onueke to Abuja and Lagos. The Commissioner added that operations would initially run twice a week, Abuja flights on Mondays and Lagos flights on Fridays. Obichukwu said Governor Francis Nwifuru has made air travel affordable by subsidizing ticket prices to a flat rate of 100,000 naira for both Lagos and Abuja routes, less than half the typical fare. She emphasized that Ebonyi State was set to leverage the airport's cargo facilities for international export of agricultural produce and solid minerals, including yams, rice, cassava, salt, and limestone. The commissioner noted that the airport, which was initially inaugurated in 2023, experienced a temporary suspension of operations after regulatory agencies flagged issues with the runway. She said the runway has since been upgraded from concrete to asphalt, following recommendations from aviation regulators. The Labour Party, or LP senator representing Edo South District, Neda Emasuen, has confirmed his plan to join the All Progressives Congress APC on June 12. Emasuen is the only senator elected on the platform of the Labour Party in Edo State. He said the disarray within the LP was responsible for his planned defection. Senator Emasuen, who spoke in Benin City, said the defection to the APC was part of activities to mark his second year in office. The chairman, Senate Committee on Ethics, Privileges and Public Petitions, said his defection was to align Edo South with the federal government development priorities under President Bola Tinubu's Renewed Hope agenda. He explained that his defection was a strategy decision and not opportunism. Senator Emasuen listed his achievements to include the Federal College of Education, Abudu, establishment bill, and resolution of over 20 public petitions. He said he has ensured vocational training schemes, agricultural support, and a rural initiative training traditional birth attendants as well as scholarships for students in the district. The Federal Medical Center Abuja has commenced investigations into the activities of 8 of its staff members, including 4 doctors, 2 nurses and 2 attendants, for alleged negligence at the hospital. The hospital, which disclosed this at a press briefing, noted that any staff member found guilty of negligence of duty will be held accountable. It had earlier been reported that the federal government launched an investigation into a viral video showing alleged neglect of accident victims at the emergency unit of the hospital. The video, which circulated widely on social media, showed victims of a road accident reportedly left unattended by hospital staff after being brought by a Good Samaritan. The Good Samaritan, who recorded the footage, claimed he found the victims on the road and transported them to the hospital for urgent care. He alleged that hospital staff refused to provide immediate assistance, with one citing a lack of gloves. Muftau, however, said the patient with the head injury in the video that attracted public outrage has been treated, stabilized and discharged on the same day he was brought into the facility. He said the findings of the investigation ordered by the Minister of State for Health, Dr. Isaac Salako, will be made public upon conclusion. The Niger Correctional Service, NCOS, has said the majority of inmates across various custodial centers nationwide have already been successfully enrolled into the National Identity Management Commission's or NIMC database. The NCOS noted that this was achieved through the collaborative efforts of the service and the National Identity Management Commission or NIMC. It added that as at 7th June 2025, out of the total of 80,879 inmates population, 59,786 inmates, approximately 74%, have been added to the database of the NIMC. The service made this known in a statement by its public relations officer, Umar Abubakar, debunking reports that the National Identity Number or NIN registration exercise is yet to commence in all the custodial centers across the country. Abubakar said the registration of the remaining inmates is actively in progress and mechanisms have been put in place to ensure its seamless completion. To end the Sapiencia TV news at 1 p.m., a recap of the major headlines. The federal government has restated its commitment to reducing maternal mortality rate in Nigeria by 20% before the end of the year 2027. The Edo State government has raised the alarm over the rising cases of diphtheria in the state. Wilberforce Chuba Okadigbo Airport, Ebonyi State, has commenced commercial flight operations. And finally, the Nigeria Correctional Service, or NCOS, has announced the successful enrollment of more than 70% of inmates across various custodial centers nationwide into the National Identity Management Commission's, or NIMC, database. That was the Sapiencia TV news at 1 p.m. On behalf of the editorial and technical crew, I am Joe Igbo. Good afternoon and thanks for choosing TV Sapiencia.